What's up, y'all, and thanks for stopping by. AEW Revolution pay-per-view just finished, and I did enjoy it. There's a few things I want to talk about aside from the rundown, which I will do right now, but let's talk about it. We go with the buy-in part of it. One match, and it was Thunder Rosa and Riho versus Dr. Britt and Maki Ito, I should say. Maki Ito. And Rebel was supposed to be the one, but she pretended she had a crutch. So Maki Ito took her place, and Rebel had she had a say in the decision because she was the one who connected with her crutch, and she clocked Thunder Rosa and allowed Dr. Britt to pick up the pin. It was actually the better match, the match that they needed to put first, to put in the buy-in, because there really wasn't much of a match. But they got on the show, I guess. It's almost like the kickoff show on WWE, where it's just like they're not really factored into the whole, whatever you call that, storylines or whatever. I mean, well, Dr. Britt and Thunder Rosa, they have a rivalry. Why not put them on some kind of a stipulation kind of match on the main show? They didn't do it, and that's that. Now, the main show, we had the Young Bucks versus the Inner Circle, Jericho and MJF for the AEW Tag Team titles. And in the end, a Meltzer driver by the Bucks on Jericho, and the tag titles are successfully defended in a very competitive match. It really was a very good match, and congratulations to the Bucks. And what's next for the Inner Circle? Well, there was an announcement made later on, and I'll get into that as I get to it. Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, and this has a connection with the tag team titles, because whoever wins this, whichever team or last man on the team standing after the Battle Royal is said and done, will get a shot at those titles. And at one point, we see 4 teams remain as Jurassic Express, SCU, Death Triangle, and Dark Order Silver and Reynolds remain. And the Death Triangle, in the end, win by eliminating Jungle Boy, and they get a shot on Wednesday at the tag team titles on Dynamite. Now, Shida versus Mizunami, or Ryo Mizunami, versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's title. Before this, these two women in Japan faced each other 3 times, and it was a draw each time. So Hikaru Shida has something to prove, and in the end, she finally exercises a demon named Mizunami and beats her with a knee to the face. She spins around, connects with that hard knee, and she retains her title. Good on her. She is my favorite female wrestler in AEW, so I'm glad she won. Very tough opponent. Seeing the match that Ryo Mizunami had with Nyla Rose to make it, she won the women's eliminator, AEW Women's Championship eliminator match to be the number 1 contender. She beat Nyla Rose. A very physical match. Really showed what she's capable of, did Mizunami, and she earned a shot, and she gave the champ a pretty tough challenge, and she beat her. Miro and Kip versus the Best Friends, specifically Chucky T and Orange Cassidy. They were attacked before the match and even cut open Chucky T as they slammed him into a small window in a door. And in the end, Miro taps out old Chucky T, and the Best Man picks up the victory for him and Kip Sabian. Even at one point, Miro pushed Orange Cassidy into Penelope Ford, who was standing on the apron. I guess that's a way for him to kind of distract Orange Cassidy, because Orange Cassidy is going to be focused on looking at Penelope Ford, like, I didn't mean to hit her, and then, but it's a typical thing. It's a typical thing every time. Why do you have to be distracted by that? You don't care about her. She's on the she's not your person. She's not your girl. That's on the apron. You know. That's always the go-to. You know. That's always the go-to. Now, this Wednesday on Dynamite, it was announced that there was going to be an Inner Circle War Council. They're always announcing something, whether it be a damn podium, speaking at the podium, a segment, whatever. And then there's going to be some changes made to the Inner Circle, and MJF pretty much said, you know, there's going to be some changes made. There's something has to change around here. I mean, is he going to take over and try to kick Jericho out? Are they going to add somebody else that Jericho and Ortiz and Santana don't want? I don't know where Jake Hager was, if he's training for an MMA fight. Where was he at? But that's happening on Wednesday. Big money match. Matt Hardy versus Hangman Page. And the first quarter winnings of the loser are on the line. And a buckshot lariat in the end wins it for the Hangman. Thanks to Dark Order, who stifles Private Party's attempts to disrupt the match, which is really much anyways. Those two were so useless, so pathetic. Heel turn, babyface, doesn't matter. Private Party sucks. Even Matt Hardy, I mean, him changing now to this, what do you call it, big money Matt. This is his thing now, and it's just like, does it really matter? Does it really, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't, you know. Now, TNT title Face of the Revolution ladder match. It's a very good, decent ladder match, but there's too many near climbing up the thing, and someone gets pulled down. Someone goes up, someone gets pulled down. It kept going on and on and on, and I know that does happen. It takes place in ladder matches, but here it just seems like it just did it too much. It was to the point where it's just like, someone grab it already. And somebody did. Someone who really I didn't give a you know what about. I didn't want him to get it, but he did. And well, of course, let's listen. I mean, before I say who it was, let's see who was in it. It was Max Caster, part of the Acclaimed, and he raps like a little girl. I can't stand when he raps. Yeah. It's annoying. I'd rather hear John Cena. John Cena in his Thugonomics days, you know what I mean? You got Scorpio Sky, you got Lance Archer, you got Penta. And I'm not gonna say his full name. It's too long. I'm gonna fall asleep if I do. And you got Cody, and then you have debuting Ethan Page, a two-time tag team champion from Impact Wrestling. Looked impressive. I didn't see enough of him to form a opinion, but looked like he could carry his own. Looked like he did pretty decent in here, and I thought he was going to, because with the track record, someone debuts in these type of matches, they always win. Remember Brian Cage, right? What was that? The Casino Battle Royale, right? He pulled down that big, poker chip, right? Here we had a big, thing that, Scorpio Sky is the one that ends up pulling down the golden donut. I mean the brass ring. A little jab to WWE saying there's an actual brass ring. I think that's what JR said. That's an actual brass ring you can pull down. And he does, and so he's going to face Darby Allin this coming Wednesday on Dynamite for the TNT title. Now, speaking of that, Team Taz will take on Sting and the TNT champion Darby Allin, and they keep saying, what's going to happen to him? What kind of conditions is he going to be in when he faces and puts the title on line against Scorpio Sky? Now, this thing was a street fight, and it was cinematic style. And it's a good way to protect Sting. Sting could take bumps, and he did take bumps here. But it's a good way to really protect somebody and to make them look better. And in the end, Scorpion Death Drop on Starks after a brutal, down and dirty street fight all through a rundown warehouse. And Sting ends it in the ring, pinning Ricky Starks. He had a sick coffin drop off of like the third floor onto a pile of tarp and wood and all that, crashing through Brian Cage. You've seen these guys, of course, use the help of the rest of Team Taz coming in. And we see bats being used by Sting. We see pipes and big old, what do you call that, shovel. They use shovel to shovel snow. They're using that on Sting, and then Sting gets thrown a bat by Darby Allin, and he ends up cleaning the house, knocking them all out, knocking them down, and then goes into the ring like I said before, and he wins the match for him and Darby Allin. Darby Allin was thrown by Hobbs and Brian Cage through a window, like it was like a frame with a window, and it was a bunch of like, it was like a bunch of wood surrounding it, like making it like a multi-squared kind of thing. And when you saw Darby Allin get thrown through it, he gets thrown, you see him sit down, and then the thing falls on him. Glass, actually, I don't know if that was sugar type of glass, that glass that they use for Hollywood, for movies and all that stuff. It's made of sugar, so that when they go through it, you don't get cut or anything. I wonder what that was, but knowing these sick guys, sick in the head, these wrestlers, that they'll take anything, they'll take something for real. Maybe Darby Allin did take an actual window, glass. Yeah, maybe he did take actual glass, went through actual glass. So it's like, it wouldn't surprise me if he did, but that's that. And Sting looked good. Actually, all of them did. They all looked good, actually. And this match was actually well done. It was well choreographed. It was well planned, and everything worked. And everything was really, really good in this match. I really was impressed with what they did. The production value, it was good. And pretty much this is how the one way you could do a street fight that really would be entertaining, instead of a typical type of street fight. At least it took place outside of the ring, because the final pinfall did take place in the ring, but at least it was outside the ring. It wasn't like in WWE where they always street fight, but it's in the ring. A couple times here outside the ring, and then it's like they lost the true meaning of street fight. But that was that. And then we go to the final match, the main event, Exploding Barbed Wire Death Match. 3 sides of the ring wrapped in barbed wire. Why? Because the entrance side, they keep that barbed wire free, so in case there's an emergency, if the refs or medical officials need to come in, they'll have a free way of coming in, not having to go through barbed wire and all that stuff. And then if you trigger the switches, the bombs will go off. And it happened a couple times. The one time that it looked kind of real, it's because oftentimes before they hit the ring, the ropes, whoever triggers it is like too trigger happy, and they hit it too early. One time when Kenny Omega hit the ropes, it went off as he went on the ropes. When they fell out of the ring onto like the barbed wire on plywood, it went off when they landed. It looks kind of silly when they before they hit the thing, it goes off. They're supposed to be the one triggering it, not somebody else. So you could tell someone was doing that, but it doesn't take away from the brutality and the sickness of this match. This match was sick, and this match was brutal. There's a lot of blood. These guys landing in the barbed wire. It goes back to that match with Kenny and John Moxley last time. Remember when they went through that? Both of them went through it, and it was really deep, and it took them a long time, a while before they got out of it. I mean, they both went through it again, but it wasn't that high, so they kind of got out of it. I think John Moxley's got the most of it, but in the end, and of course at the 30-minute mark, entire ring was going to explode if they didn't win the match before that. So that's what they were kind of trying to beat, And then if they made it through that, I don't know if they made it through that, the match would continue. But it didn't get to that point. It did end before that, because a one-winged angel by Omega onto a chair. He put John Moxley through a chair, and he got the pin and defended his title. Successfully retained with a little help from the Good Brothers, but they got their asses handed to them with a barbed wire bat from John Moxley. And they're in there afterwards, and I'm thinking, will Omega and the Good Brothers get the hell out of the ring? You got 2 minutes left. All of a sudden, 1 minute mark, there's like a warning, the warning sound, and then there's a 1 minute counting down. They get out of there, and it was like 20 seconds, and then here comes Eddie Kingston. Well, he and John Moxley, they had their rivalry and their feud, beating each other from pillar to post and from here and there, you know what I mean? And he comes in and he tries to save John Moxley. It's 10 seconds left and he's trying to wake him up. I'm like, drag his ass out of there. Don't try to wake him. Because if you can wake him up, he's not going to get up. He's handcuffed, right? And then all of a sudden, the ring explodes. For that, a few seconds, Eddie Kingston throws his body on top of Moxley, and explodes, if you call it that. Pyro out of each turnbuckle and smoke. And then the Academy for the Oscar for Best Acting goes to Eddie Kingston, and he drops as if he got knocked out, and it didn't even nothing in the ring. I've seen two super heavyweights suplex each other into superplex onto the mat, and that exploded the ring, meaning it caved the ring in. They could have at least made it to where the ring caved in or fell over. Better effect, but there was nothing affecting the ring itself, just the turnbuckle and the ropes. And I don't know if they're trying to sell it that the effect of it and the explosion made them shake so badly, or shook him so badly that he got knocked out. I don't know. But I guess it shows that Eddie Kingston is a friend after all. And he went out there, and then the ring announcers are going, "Oh my God, stop this! Somebody get thing out of there! Well, how about you go in there, Excalibur? Tony Schiavone, run in there and get him." But Eddie Kingston did it, and this didn't really ruin the match. It didn't. I mean, I just went along for the ride, and it was a decent match, and it was a brutal match. Got some blood, like I said, and brutality, and and intensity of this match, But overall, it was a decent pay-per-view overall. It was worth my $49. Luckily, I didn't have to pay for All Out, because that's the only pay-per-view so far since I started watching AEW that I did not like, that I've seen, because I did tap out of AEW for a number of months, getting tired of it, and it got better as when I went back. Well, actually, it's because of Sting. He brought me back to AEW, so, and the product is better now. It's doing really well. This was a very good pay-per-view, decent, very executed very well. Everybody did their part, and all the matches were good. All of them were for what it was. It didn't bore me. I wasn't looking at something else. I wasn't like going to the bathroom and saying whatever. I'm gonna every match I would sit down and watch it, and then afterwards I'd go do what I need to do real quick, come back. But AEW Revolution is a very good pay-per-view. The following pay-per-view is their I guess you can call it their WrestleMania, their flagship pay-per-view, and that is Double or Nothing. And we'll see what matches are being set up for that, and what feuds are going to be ignited in order to carry over into that pay-per-view. Who's going to go for the world title? Who's going to challenge for the TNT title? Who's going to be the participants in the Casino Battle Royale? Who's going to be a part of that pay-per-view? But anyway, that's my recap and thoughts of AEW Revolution 2021. Like I said, a decent pay-per-view, well done, executed very well, and congratulations to all those who participated, and I guess the successful retention of all the titles. No titles changed hands that were on the line. So anyway, that's my video, and for those of you who stopped by, checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care. Oh, and how could I forget that AEW recently signed a big-time talent, someone who Paul White said can outwork everyone. And who was that? Well, Justin Roberts made the announcement. Here is the AEW's latest signee. And then we see a countdown and the familiar start of a music, and all of a sudden I hear the familiar theme from TNA, now Impact, and it says Christian Cage. So Christian, as we know him in WWE, he was Christian Cage when he was outside. And apparently the Royal Rumble was a one-off, and he is now in AEW. And after he's in the ring, he just walks around. He signs a contract, puts it down on the, on the ring. He's there in the ring, walks out. But before that, he opens up his jacket, and he has a shirt that says "Outwork Everyone." So Christian's back in wrestling. 7-year hiatus. But he's here, and who's he going to wrestle? Is it going to be him and a familiar opponent or foe, that being Chris Jericho? Is he going to wrestle Matt Hardy? Remember the battles between ENC, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys? There might be some kind of a rivalry going there. Maybe he's going to hook up with a younger talent and be a mentor. Sting's doing that with Darby Allin, and Matt Hardy's doing it with the Private Party. Is Big Show going to do the same thing? Because Big Show not only is going to be a commentator for the new YouTube show AEW Dark Elevation, but he's also going to be an in-ring talent as well. So maybe we're going to see him and Shaq. Remember, that was promised that was going to happen in WWE. It never did. But anyway, that's a little something that I wanted to add, and I don't know why I forgot.